Hi, today I'm going to be installing VirtualBox and Vagrant on Windows. This will enable me to run any virtualized Linux environment within Windows. We'll be using Ubuntu. The reason? Because Windows doesn't run Ansible. With some Linux support with WSL2, that felt like a beta when I tried to test it after its release in mid-2021. You might get one VM running to a point, but the virtualization tech behind it, Hyper-V, is a main selling point for Windows Pro licenses. You're not going to find Microsoft giving it away so that you can work with its competitor. If they can call it Linux and then quietly break it, why wouldn't they? On the VirtualBox downloads page, I'll just highlight the extension pack license. People love this, but it isn't licensed for commercial use, so we ignore it. Click the top link, download virtualbox.exe. Cancel that, I've already downloaded it. Accept the default options. Everything here is suitable for commercial and non-commercial use. It's given me a warning that the network interfaces will be modified. Non-standard networking can prevent my VM from being shared successfully. I learned that these modifications are tagged by VirtualBox with VirtualBox. If you're following along, I highly recommend not filtering for VirtualBox so you can satisfy yourself with this. Missing dependencies? But what choice does it give us? The reason I'm filtering the output of ipconfig all is that it contains my MAC address. Installation complete. Let's see what changes were made to the networking. VirtualBox host only Ethernet adapter was added. This is what another I'm able to share looks like. I'll put a link to that in the description. Start VirtualBox. This is the network view where we can clearly see the newly added adapter. We'll use the welcome view. Click New to create first virtual machine. Provide the location of a previously downloaded ISO. Name it Ubuntu from ISO. We can change it later. Initially the type was Windows 10. It defaults to the host OS. Unattended install options are super convenient, but we should check our password at least. 2 GB of RAM's plenty, 1 CPU, fine. Ubuntu 20 needs 4 GB for server installs, desktop requires 10 GB. Add a margin of 20%. We get some super graphs here when the VM is running. Let's check back on the network config. We've got a client window appearing in the background. Despite the obstructions, we catch that it is booting the default try or install Ubuntu. It's only surprising that it is completely unattended now. We should be careful about the VM capturing our mouse and keyboard. There is one little used key it doesn't capture, and that is shown in the bottom right. Right control. Press it to toggle the capturing of input by the VM. The icon next to it lights up when capturing. Here it is politely refusing to capture. Installation will take about 15 minutes. This view in VirtualBox is where we can attempt diagnosis if a VM ever becomes unresponsive. It's easy to forget about. It works. VMM is Virtual Machine Manager, the host. Guest is running flat out during the install. I've tried doubling the vCPU, but the guest load drops from 100 to 50% with nothing else to bottleneck. I'm going to cut about 10 minutes of waiting here and speed up the rest. Check network config. We can install Vagrant whilst we wait. The top link takes us to vagrantup.com. Click download button, then download link for our CPU, AMD 64. I've already downloaded it. Open the download. Next, accept, next, install. Soon after, a UAC prompt pops up, which I agree to. While Vagrant and Ubuntu install, I go in search of the next large binary, an Ubuntu box for Vagrant. I search for Vagrant box Ubuntu. The top link takes me back to Vagrant app, which I already trust. These are all Ubuntu server images. Some bear the official Ubuntu designation. I presume they're all published by the same entity. I want Jammy64. I copy the version number for consistency and efficiency going forward. You'll see a very minimal Vagrant file presented at the top. Please ignore that, we can do much better. From bash I cd into the server1 directory I had prepared earlier. All that contains is this Vagrant file, into which the version number needs pasting. I'll show you where to find the Vagrant file source. I used to be too afraid of getting a Franken network to give my VMs IPs. Despite that, the top of this Vagrant file is sound. Change focal to Jammy and add this network config line to choose an IP address. I cd into the parents and cpfr, the server1 directory, which still contains just the Vagrant file. Copy that to server2. In the copied Vagrant file, I give the VM a new hostname and IP address. That's it. We can create as many VMs with that simple modification as resources allow. Vagrant is now installed. No new virtual network adapters appeared. We probably should restart as it suggests. VirtualBox shows no new network adapters either, although it is less authoritative than the ipconfig command. I don't want to start using Vagrant until the desktop Ubuntu is installed. Ctrl-Alt-T gets me a terminal, and I can use SU to allocate. df-h shows 9.6 gig used on a 12 gig volume. Pre-h shows about 900 mega RAM in use. I launch Vagrant servers with Vagrant up. Close the desktop VM. Check the network adapters in the GUI. It shows we have only one for 192.168.56/24. Check with command prompt. I see the adapter being configured in Vagrant's output. Check with command prompt again. The GUI isn't reflecting these changes. This could be because I didn't restart my computer when Vagrant told me to. I can address the new end with its locally unique IP address, .68.2. I need to paste the key explicitly. It will be in a hidden directory next to the Vagrant file called .vagrant. I've had a server at this address before and the fingerprint doesn't match. SSS keygen -r forgets this IP. And then the other one. SSH worked, and we can see the IP address we have logged in from is on our new virtual network. Whereas using the default Vagrant SSH, we're coming in from a less familiar IP, a seemingly magic number. Before repeating on the second Ubuntu server VM, I check back with the VirtualBox GUI for the missing adapter. Repeat provisioning and testing the second VM. I'll speed this up to mitigate repetition. I forget to change the IP address from server 1 and am denied access with a unique key from server 2. Confuse myself with all these virtual and emulated Linux systems. Where am I? I'm not giving up on the VirtualBox GUI missing that adapter. There, I had to restart the GUI to force the update. While we're here, let's see that the VMs can ping one another. Yes, what about ping the host? No. What about a fictitious IP on a subnet? No. What is the latency to the other VM? About half a millisecond. Here is the Vagrant box file pulled. Home, boxes, name of box, version, VirtualBox. 600 meg VMDK that will be the source for as many servers as we need.